Yo, what's up? Bear with me just a moment. I'm adding these other streams or platforms to the stream as well.
Crazy. The only thing that hurt my trading, a main thing I
All right. Yo, those of you who are on TikTok, if you find value in this, I'm not just gonna ask people to follow my channel just for the sake of getting, new followers. But if you find value in my content, then yeah, definitely like, subscribe, follow for more, so I can reach. Currently, I just made 100 followers on TikTok, so I jumped up pretty quickly from 50 followers just by going live. So people are finding value in my content. So uh, yeah, I just want to push to 1,000 followers so I can, receive the stream key from TikTok so I can add it to, you know, um, the OBS software so I can actually provide you guys on TikTok with a better viewing experience. Those of you who are joining me live on YouTube and Instagram, obviously, you know, you guys got the better viewing experience already because I'm able to share my screen through the OBS software. But for those of you on TikTok, my apologies. I have to stream live from my mobile device. So hopefully, if you find value, like I said, like, subscribe, and follow for more so I can reach 1,000 followers and I can get that stream key from TikTok so I can add this platform to the OBS software. So just to do all I wanted to do today was do a quick trade recap. I made $119 trading QQQ today, and I traded live with my mentor. Now, this guy, first of all, I'm 46 years of age. All right, I'm 46 large. My mentor is 24 years old. He's 24 years old. My background is software engineering. I've been working as a software engineer for the past 10 years, making a six-figure salary. I recently discovered that day trading stock options has been available for the past 50 years. All right. This means I could have been day trading like sometime in, like my senior year of high school. All right. And if I was aware that it was this easy to make money as a trader, I would have done this back in high school. All right. But fortunately for my mentor, again, he's only 24 years of age. He discovered this. He discovered day trading stock options much earlier, right? So he's been day trading for 7 years, and he is a multi-millionaire. Multi-millionaire. Last week alone, he made over 70,000. $70,000. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's people's salary in a week, man. That's some people's salary in a week. So he made over 70,000 just last week, and the week prior to that, he made over 75,000. And again, he's only 24 years of age, and I'm really impressed with this young man. I paid $3,500 to join his mentorship program. He has an entire community where he trades live and demonstrates, the simple breakout and retest strategy live in front of everybody. And this is how much he's making in front of everybody. Okay, so his he believes in 1,000% transparency, and so do I. So everything we get to see everything live. All right, so it's pretty cool. That part is pretty cool. For those of you who might be interested, you can catch me because I'll stream live so you guys can preview and see for yourself, free access. All right. Now, on Friday, every Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. If you can't make it, just DM me and ask for the replay, and I'll send you the replay once the session is over. No problem. So yeah, he made 70,000 last week, and since I've joined his mentorship program, I'm up 7.8K. All right. So you can see I'm sharing my results every day. I go live and talk, and I perform a pre-market prep because I focus primarily on Tesla, trading Tesla. But if Tesla doesn't perform or do anything, then I have second and third options to trade as well. But my primary target is Tesla, just like a football QB. They have their primary target, as far as their receivers are concerned, and then they have their second and third option. So yeah, Tesla is my primary target, and then if that doesn't do anything in the first 5 to 15 minutes, then I'll begin to check out other options. Today, Tesla was pretty weak for the most part of the day, and like I said, I expected that. I covered that in the pre-market prep. Yeah, it was pretty weak. I could show you guys here. It was pretty weak since the open. So, and I expected this because earnings will drop for Tesla Wednesday. I expect a day one or day two mover after earnings. So that'll be Thursday or Friday is when I expect Tesla to actually do something. So I'll be on the lookout for that come Thursday or Friday, and potentially jump into a trade for Tesla. But I don't expect any moves from Tesla on tomorrow. So just like today, I expect it just to consolidate, similar to the way it looks today. But let me adjust this so I can show you what Q's did today. Now, one thing to note is I do have the funds to trade larger positions, the same as my mentor. I began trading 10K to 50K positions. But something hit me. I came across something shortly after I joined his mentorship program, and I noticed because he trades live, right? There's a ton of people in the Zoom call and on the Discord because he goes live on both platforms. But what he does is, which I love, is he allows people to in the chat, the live chat, to ask all sorts of questions because there's a lot of new traders, and that's the primary focus is to teach. And so a lot of people were asking, well, not asking, but a lot of people, well, inquiring, right? But for the most part, a lot of people had this misconception that you can't trade Tesla because the contracts are too expensive. And yeah, so the contracts that we were typically trading, would one contract would cost like 1,000 or 1,500 or $2,000, and so I would typically buy like either 10K position or like 50K position. So I buy a couple of contracts at once. But I started to look into this because I kept seeing a lot of people inquire about this, and they mentioned they was expressing concerns like, well, I can't trade Tesla because it costs too much. But in the options chain, shoot, you know what? Made it. I could just go ahead and show you guys this real quick too. In the options chain, you can see that there are plenty cheaper options even for Tesla. But what my mentor would recommend is he would say, just go ahead and trade other stocks, trade other tickers, and just start out with scaling that way. Buy like two, maybe three contracts, and then go from there. But what I decided to do was to check out these cheaper contracts. These are the lower delta contracts. Let me pull this down so you guys can see exactly what I'm referring to. Let me pull in my Thinkorswim account. Let's refresh that. Oh, I want to show this account. I created this secondary account, brokerage account too. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But let me switch to the paper trade side. Uh, I don't know what's up with that. Hold on, let me refresh. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. All right, cool. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. All right, let me pull up Tesla just so you guys can see that. All right, so when trading Tesla, now you can see that I'm in the Tesla chain, Tesla ticker, right? And like I said, a lot of people in the on the live uh, meeting was expressing this concern. Man, the contracts are too expensive for Tesla. And if I pull up, this is the option chain, and you can see within the option chain, you have multiple options. Today's Monday, so we only have 4 days left for this weekly option. But you can see the options have different durations, and these durations, what they represent is the time to expiration. So 4 days till expiration, 11 days, and so on. But again, the primary concern that people were expressing was, hey, Tesla, like stock companies or companies like Tesla, their option contracts are too expensive. Well, I discovered that's just not the case. There are some expensive contracts that people do typically trade. But what I decided to do was to investigate, because here you can see in this column, this is the ask column. All right, let me zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see that on TikTok. This is the ask column, right? And you can see here 27.25. Now that's not $27.25. You actually have to move the decimal places over 2 places. So the actual price in USD is $2,000, $725, right? And so these are the contracts we do typically trade. Yeah, and they are pretty, you know, pretty costly. Uh, for the average person who can't really afford that. But once I started seeing so many people express like, well, I can't trade Tesla, and that's what we primarily trade. I just decided to look into these cheaper contracts, because you can see here, there's a ton of them, right? There's a ton of these options. So 945, 800, 600, you see, and so on. And I was like, well, why don't people trade these? I don't hear a lot of people posting on social media talking about these lower delta contracts. These are the deltas when I referred to, and that's what I put in the trade recap board on my live. You can see these are the lower deltas. This is the delta column. People typically trade the point 47 to 50 or above, anywhere between like these 2, 3 deltas. But I was curious as well. I was like, well, why don't people trade these cheaper deltas? What, they don't make money? Um, and the perception was is that they don't make money or they don't move enough. So I wanted to test this for myself. I wanted to test this theory out for myself, and actually provide some real evidence for you guys. And that's what I did. So I decided to start buying these 0.20 delta contracts. All right. So anywhere but, close to 0.20, either 0.18 or 0.22 or 0.24, whichever one is available. But you can see these contracts are much cheaper. $200, $300, $183. So either one. But what I decided to do was start buying, a couple of contracts, one here, 10 there. Now, even though I might buy, multiple contracts of these cheaper contracts, because I still want to make a certain dollar amount, the rule still applies, right? What does one contract make? Or what can you earn with one contract? Even though I might buy 10 of these cheaper contracts, we can still use the data to observe what can one contract make. And then you can obviously scale up from that point. So just buying one contract. Again, I talked about this last week. If you had bought one $313 contract Wednesday for Tesla, you would be up 600 plus dollars today. You could have closed out today. You could have closed out Friday with that net gain. Um, so yeah, this is what I bought for Qs today. I bought a cheaper contract because that's what I wanted to continue practicing to see how well these contracts move, not just for Tesla, but for different stocks as well. QQQ is an ETF, that's an indice. So I wanted to see how well these stocks move. Now I made $119 trading QQQ buying the cheaper contracts, the 0.20 delta contracts. So you can make money. Now I bought 10 of those contracts. So if you divide, $100 by 10, obviously that's $10 each. But guess what that equates to? That's a 10%, 10% or greater return. That's better than your savings, you know, better than your checking. If you do earn some sort of interest on your checking, that's better than a CD, a certificate deposit. In most cases, because on average you might get between 3.5% to maybe 4.5% for a certificate of deposit from your bank. But like I said, I earned 10% on each contract, so that was a net of $119 um, for my trade for QQQ. Okay, so yeah, after fees, obviously Thinkorswim, there's some brokerage fees, but after their fees, my net gain was $96 and change. So as you can see, this today is Monday, right? So this first trade of the week, green trade, $96. You can see the total percentage, which is 18%, close to 19%. So almost netted, almost 20%. I was up a little over 20%, as high as 22%. And these are the types of returns that I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for now on average, I'm looking for 3 to 7%. 3 to 7%. So when I net, something along the lines of 18% and more, that's pretty phenomenal. If you look at the previous week, last week, my net after 9 trades was 11%. So I earned 11% overall. And the previous week, I made more money, but the overall percentage rate of return was a little bit less. So it was 3%, but it's still within range, right? It's still within the range uh, that my target range, right? 3 to 7%. So that's my goal. I want to earn at least 3%, no less than 3%, and above, right? So 3 to 7%, that's the goal. And why is that my goal? Well, because during my tests, my trading tests, right, I started to notice that my average rate of return, even before my losses, was 3 to 7%. So a lot of people I notice will jump in trying to chase after the money instead of trying to understand, first of all, money mechanics, right? How to manage money, how to grow and protect it. A lot of people see these gains and they just want to jump in and start making money right away. And, obviously, you definitely want to make money. The goal is not to jump into, any investment and lose money. But you still got to start. You got to crawl before you walk. You still need to learn and understand the fundamentals, because day trading isn't difficult at all. And take it from me as a software engineer. I've been working as a software engineer for the past 10 years, earning a six-figure salary. So I know what I'm talking about. And I'm 46 years of age. So if I could do it, if I'm telling you that it's simple, it's definitely simple. This is not rocket science in terms of day trading, that is. Now, if you wanted to be a software engineer, then you'd have problems, because that takes a lot more, tech savviness. All right. And a lot of people don't have the patience to sit there and be writing hundreds or thousands of lines of code of instructions for these software programs. It's tedious. It's tedious work. And I get that. But day trading, this is not rocket science at all. You anybody with the will to learn how to grow their money can learn how to day trade. And reading charts is not difficult as well. So if you guys have any questions while I'm going over this, those of you on the different platforms, bear with me because I'm trying to stream. I got these different streaming services: TikTok for my mobile, and then OBS for, the other platforms. So hopefully you guys can help me get to 1,000 followers on TikTok. If you find value in my content, yeah, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and follow for more. So I can reach 1,000. Then they'll give me a stream key, and I can add TikTok to my OBS software, so I can show you guys, give you a better visual experience. But with that said, like I said, it's definitely not rocket science in terms of day trading to make money. Today, traded QQQ, just one trade today. One trade today. You know what I love about day trading is the fact that you can get in and out, and you're immediately liquid. So when you profit, you're immediately liquid, right? You can transfer that money to your whatever financial institution that you added to your brokerage account, right? So obviously, I made this month 3.9K. I'm up 3.9K so far. And yeah, man, you I could cash out if I wanted to, but what I've been doing is trading these lower delta contracts just so I can have the evidence to provide to you guys, so you guys can, anybody for free, no gatekeep, just trying to share the information that I'm learning on a day to day from my mentor. Now, my mentor again, phenomenal, man. He's a young guy, and man, he's just killing it. He's killing it, man. 70,000 last week, 75,000 the week before that, and he's a multimillionaire. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed with his progress over the past 7 years, and to be that young. I mean, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. But I wish, what I would like is for a lot I would like for other people to have the same opportunity, right? To have the same opportunity to grow their money. But you don't need a lot of money to start. You don't need a lot of money. You can start with as little as $100. So if you have $1 to $500, that's really all you need, and you can begin to make money. So let's take a look at these. Take a closer look at these trades here. All right. So let me pull up. Let me pull up cues. Let me go to the dashboard. Let me go to my dashboard. What is this? The P&L percentage now reflects your realized performance across all closed trades in your account. Uses a standard industry formula that shows your return on invested capital, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know that. Oops. Oh, that's pretty cool. How do you close this? All right, cool. So here's cues. Let me adjust this for those of you on TikTok. All right, so here's cues today. And I was in this trade for a total of 23 minutes. 23 minutes. That's, like when you think about, your typical job and how much people earn per hour, man, think about that. Like, if you can earn $100, $50 an hour, why not? You know what I mean? Why not? So, $119 in 23 minutes. That's $50 every half an hour, right? Just about a little over $50 every half an hour. Okay. Or $100. I mean, excuse me. Every 15 minutes, just about $50, a little over 50 every 15 minutes. Sorry about that. But to have $100 in 23 minutes, man, that's crazy. Now, I bought 10 contracts, but I want you to pay very close attention to the overall cost. Let me adjust this for those of you on TikTok. Look at the overall cost. Each contract, I bought 10 of them, but each contract is $53. All right, $53. And that's it. That's it, $53. If you can't afford $53, then what you have to do is you have to start saving up your money. You could save $1 a day and have $365 at the end of the year, right? $2 per day will net you 700, close to $800 at the end of the year. So if you can't afford $53 right now, it's not impossible for you to begin saving up money so you can begin growing your money. And don't fret about starting with a little bit, because what will begin to happen is you'll start to take advantage of compound interest. All right. So that's what tends to happen. That's what tends to happen. All right. So $53 per contract. Again, I bought 10, but our focus is on what can one contract do um, for you. And then from that point, obviously, you can see you just scale. You scale with more contracts. As you begin to make or grow your money, you just start buying more contracts, right? And then that way you can not only take advantage of compounding your wins, but also you can exponentially grow your money because those trailing contracts that you leave remaining, as you begin to take profits at different target levels, start to grow exponentially. So I'll shoot some videos on that as well, because I've already recorded those examples because I want to demonstrate them so you can see visually what that looks like, man. Because it's crazy. A lot of people who are unfamiliar with trading stock options don't really realize this. Like, man, those trades, this one contract of $53 can begin to grow exponentially. But let me show you. If I zoom in to this trade here, you can see this is when I got in. This is when I got into the trade. So this was around 9 o'clock. I entered at 9 o'clock. I bought 10 contracts, as you can see here, for $53 each. And that first contract made $7. All right, that's well over 10%. Think about that. That's well over 10%. 10% of $50 is $5, right? So I made $7. So I made well over 10% for that first contract. So you would have made $7 on that contract with before the candle even closed, right? I got in on this strong bullish candle here somewhere, toward the beginning. All right. And this is a cheaper contract. This is the 0.20 delta contracts. These are not even the typical contract for Qs that many traders buy. I was trying to buy the cheapest contract that I could possibly get and still make money. And that's what I did. And you see, you could have made $7 within 1 minute off of this $53. Think about that. Because what you start to do is you can see how easy it is to begin scaling once you start letting your money work for you instead of you working for it, trading hours for dollars. And then I just rinsed and repeat the same process, just rinse and repeat the same process, and started scaling out at different levels, right? So as the stock began to trend upward, right, this is a position toward the long, a long position toward the upside. So as the buyers start pouring in and pushing the stock price up, I began to sell off more contracts. Again, I bought 10, but you could have bought just one contract for $53 and made money. And then you just rinse and repeat. You reinvest the initial capital, $53 plus whatever you gain today, and then you just keep rinsing and repeating. And that's when you begin to grow your money. So I did that today, and then exited the final position at 923. Okay, at 923. Now take a look at this. Take a look at this here. Now, when you're in the trade, a lot of people, what traders begin to experience is somehow in our psychology, we begin to believe like there's a little bit of delusion or deception, right? That's happening mentally where we're like, hey man, I'm gonna stay in this trade even longer. I've made so much money, or I made a little bit of money, and I want to stay in this trade because I believe it's going to keep going up. Well, stocks just don't do that. They just don't do that. They do at times and they do periodically, right? But they don't continue in one, you know, in one direction, just straight off the back. There will be pullback, which is healthy. You actually want that activity, but they just don't shoot up. Sometimes they do this, like you see here at the open QQQ. A lot of buyers stepped in aggressively and pushed the price up. And if you had got in, even at the beginning here, you don't know when there's going to be a pullback or a complete reversal. As you can see here, I took profit once I started to notice this pullback, these couple of down close candles. The trend did continue a little bit more after that, even after I exited my position completely. I bought 10 contracts. I was completely out by this red arrow. But look, again, you don't know when the stock is going to pull back and how far it's going to pull back. That's why when you see profit, the rule goes, if you see profit, take profit. Go in before you enter a position, go in with a target in mind. Don't just guess it. You know what I mean? When you go in with a target in mind. As I talked about before in this beginning live session, I said my target is 3 to 7%, and I'm already well over that. Because I made 18, almost 19% on my trade today. So my average though, what I've been checking in my trade journal, as you can see, my average is like uh, 3 to 7%. So even if I exit out of this and I just kind of scroll through, I can zoom in for those of you on TikTok so you could take a look. Today, obviously almost 19% net gain of $100 minus fees. It was $96 and change. Day before, or excuse me, Friday, not day before, that was Sunday. Friday, 18% return. Made a little over $400 after fees. 14%, 14% on the loss. This is a no-no. This is a no-no. So I messed up on this. I shouldn't even have lost that much, $143. But you can see 9%, almost 10, 11, so forth. As long as you see the green trades, they're 3% or greater. That's the goal, right? If you understand how money works and how to grow it, you you can compare this with any financial institution, right? Any of the banks that you bank with, whomever that is, right? You can check any of their financial instruments to see what is their rate of return, what's the interest that they offer, and you'll see that it's anywhere between like 1%, 1.5, 2, or maybe 3%. Maybe you can get four, as high as 4.5% on a CD, a certificate of deposit. But look at the returns that I'm getting. That's the key, right? And look at my net gain so far these past 2 months, 7.9K in 2 months, right? And if I showed you, it's not just like obviously I'm just all green, I ain't never taken an L. That's not the case, right? I'm showing you the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, the wins, the losses, the good, the bad, the ugly. All right, I am taking losses, but what I'm doing is I'm focusing on money management, right? I got to cap those losses. These losses are supposed to be below 10%. They're supposed to be below 7%. So that's the transparency. That's my goal. My personal goal is below 7%. I haven't been sticking to the 7% because I was doing exactly what I just mentioned earlier. Is somehow in our psychology, we're like, oh man, I'm up. In most of these red trades, I was up. That's the thing, man. You're up, and then you sit in the trade longer than you need to, and then this happens, right? Let me show you guys again on Q's. It goes up, and you're in that trade, and you making money, right? And then you're like, ah, yeah, I'm gonna stay in it, but then it does this. Or let's say you got in here and you entered on the close of this candle, and then you rolled this trend up. You're like, all right, yeah, I'm making this money, so I'm gonna stay in. I'm gonna stay in. If you guys have any questions, just leave your questions in the comment section. If you want to be certain, leave me a DM with your question, and that way I can keep track and not miss it. Because then I won't have to scroll through. So if you have questions, just drop your questions in the comment section or DM me your questions. But yeah, say you rode this trend and made some money, but look what happened afterwards. This is what you had. You don't know. Now keep in mind, I'm on the 5 minute chart. Each candle is 5 minutes. So, I could even show you on the 1 minute chart, same thing. Let me zoom in just a little bit. So each candle is 1 minute, 60 seconds, right? 59 seconds. So when you're in a trend like this, man, you see profit take profit, whether it's at this level, it doesn't matter, man. When you see strength, depending on whatever direction you're positioned for, you take profit. That's it. Um, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section or DM me. If you found value in this content so far, like, subscribe, and follow for more, because all my content is focused around finance, um, helping you, because I'm on that journey right up to towards financial freedom. I'm in a much better position. I'm 46 years of age, so I may be much older than many of you. Um, but I wish that I had somebody like me that could tell me and impart this wisdom and share what they're learning for free. Now I paid $3,500 for my mentorship program, and you can see it paid off dividends. But I'm after offering this access to you guys for free, no gatekeep, because that's I just want everybody to learn who's interested, right? But so when you see profit, you take profit. Um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up this live with that. And let's see, do you guys have any questions? Any questions? I could stick around for a couple minutes or a few minutes if you have any questions. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Drop your questions if you have any questions. All right. Drop your questions if you have any questions. Let's see. Just got the number one. More likes. Appreciate the likes. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions. I'll stick around for a couple of minutes and answer any questions. But yeah, today starting out the week, nice week so far. $119 gain on Qs. My goal is just 3 to 7% return, average return. That's why I'm showing you guys. Don't let people deceive you and tell you you can't make money with cheaper contracts. I've been testing this out. All right. I've been testing this out to see if you can buy cheaper contracts that are between $100 to like $300 or $500, to see if you can still make money. And I've been doing that for the past 2 months. My typical position that I was trading was 10,000 to 50,000. But there were so many other traders in the community that I'm a part of. My mentor, not my mentorship program, my mentor's mentorship program. There was a lot of people saying, "Man, I don't have enough money. I can't afford to trade these contracts because they're too expensive." And no one within the community had tested these lower delta contracts, so I decided to do it myself. All right. So don't let people deceive you and tell you you can't trade these lower delta contracts and make money. As you can see, this QQQ trade, 18.5%, and the contracts were only $53. $53. Okay, $53 just for Qs, a Qs contract. So you can afford $53, I'm sure. And if you can't afford $53 now, $1 a day. If you save $1 a day, you can end the year with 365 bucks. All right. If you save $2 a day, guess what? You're close to 800 at the end of the year. So then, once you save up that money, guess what? Now you come into the stock market. You could day trade with that money, or you could buy longer term positions. All right. So you have options. All right. There's not one single option. You have options. All right. No pun intended, even though we're trading options, no pun intended, but you do have options. All right. So you can trade, you can day trade. That means to enter a trade within the day and then exit same day. Or you could take longer term positions. There are different names for these longer term positions, but I'm not going to overly complicate this. This is not a technical uh, training where I need to provide you with the specific terms, but there are options to trade longer term contracts, and I showed that here. You can see these are the longer term options. So you don't have to day trade if you don't have the time. Let me minimize this and blow this up a little bit for those of you on TikTok. You don't have to day trade. You could take longer term positions, and you have the options to do that. These days, what they represent is time till expiration. Time till expiration. So If you don't have the time, maybe you're too busy with your 9 to 5. Maybe you got so many responsibilities and you don't have time to, even though it only took me 23 minutes to make $119, maybe you don't want to do that, and that's fine. You could buy these longer term positions, right? 11 days, 18, 25, it goes on, right? You can do it. Look at 543 days. It's over 2 years. So if you want, if you wanted to, put some money in and just, buy the dip, you buy it at the bottom. You wait for the stock to drop. Let me just show a quick demonstration for those who might be completely new, so you can see what that looks like. Let me switch to the 4 hour. And then let me get some of this stuff off the screen so you don't get confused. You wait for the stock to drop. That's all. You just wait for the stock to drop to find a bottom, and then you wait for an indication that buyers are stepping in aggressively to begin pushing that stock back up again. And that's when you buy your longer term position. All right. So you have options. All right. No pun intended. Again, even though we're trading options, no pun intended, you do have options. You could day trade, make your money quickly, just like I'm doing. A couple of minutes, I made 119 in 20 minutes, right? But if you can't do that at work, on your lunch break, or on your smoke breaks, or whatever you do for your breaks, um, then you don't have to. There's also other day trading options you could do too, like over the weekend. Futures, you could trade futures. They're available. I think they're open 24 hours a day. I think they're 24 hours. I think there's some downtime, but for the most part, I think it's up, every day. I think you could trade futures every day. I'm not certain about that, but um, yeah, you said you got to be careful and accurate with cues. Yeah, yeah. The thing I don't, yeah, I would say with cues, let me switch over to this 1 minute chart again. Because that's the thing. That's what I was just talking about a little bit earlier. When you see profit, take profit, because you don't know when the market is going to reverse on you, and Qs can reverse on you, and I just demonstrated that here. So if you do trade an index like Qs or SPY, I agree. You definitely want to take your profit and get in, get out. My mentor, he made 2,000, a little over $2,000 today trading Qs. He doesn't typically trade Qs. He focuses primarily on Tesla also. But he jumped in the Qs today. He signaled the group and was like, "Hey, I see Qs is moving. A lot of buyers are stepping in. It's relatively strong. So let's go ahead and jump into Qs." And he did quick snipe, for $2,000 and got out. I mean, he was in and out. I was in for a little bit longer, for like 20 minutes, but he was in. He was done within, I think, three minutes, and took his profit. Let's see. What's the indication buyers are stepping in? Ah, good question. Let me show you. Let me zoom in. Let me know if you can't see this. Let me know if you can't see this. Now, it doesn't matter what time frame I'm on, so just ignore what time frame I'm on, but I'm just going to show you what this looks like. Now, the green candles, hopefully you can see this clearly. Let me know if you can't. The green candles are the up close candles. These are for buyers. The purple candles are sellers. So that means for the green candles, this is very simple. It opens from the bottom, closes at the top. The purple candles are the opposite. All right. They open at the top, close at the bottom. So we simply call those down close candles and up close candles. So buyers, up close, sellers, down close. All right. So what does it look like when buyers are stepping in? Well, sometimes you'll see something like this, right? Look at these, and you can see the sizes, the different sizes of these candles. And so you can see there's a clear distinction between when buyers are really stepping in aggressively versus there's just a few buyers. There's not much volume in the marketplace. So yeah, that's a good question. But let me show you after after a downward pullback, right? So look at this section here. Can you? Hopefully you can see this. You have several down close candles. That means sellers are stepping in to try to push the price down. But notice, look at this green up close candle here. And like I said, you can notice the size, which is distinct from some of these other smaller body candles, right? Like these. But yeah, you can definitely see a distinction between those, and that's your indication that buyers are stepping in. And when you see that, you can enter your position at or near the close of that particular candle. You don't even have to wait until it closed. Some people do like to wait until it closed. I like to, you know, kind of jump in a little bit towards the close or somewhere in the middle. If you guys have any further questions, just drop your questions in the comment section. Let's see. No Saturday. Oh, so futures aren't open on Saturday. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was under the impression that you could trade futures every day. So it looks like you can't trade futures on Saturday. Let's see. Any other questions? Any other questions? Appreciate the likes. If you guys found value in this content, feel free to like, subscribe, and follow for more. Any other questions? Any other questions? Let me scroll up and make sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, any other questions? Let me know. All right, I'll stick around for a few more minutes if you guys have any other questions. But yeah, this was a pretty easy day, pretty textbook breakout and retest for Qs. Like I said, I don't normally trade Qs. I love Tesla, but Tesla didn't do anything today. What do you trade? Yeah, good question, Susanna. I trade Tesla. My primary target is Tesla, just like a NFL quarterback. They have their primary receivers and then their second and third option. My primary target is Tesla. But my second and third options would be the semiconductors like AMD or NVIDIA, or the other tech stocks like the Mag 7. So you got your Meta, Google, Microsoft, and other, Tesla, Netflix, and so on. Pretty much any of the ones that's in the in SPY, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Any other questions? Nice way to begin the week so far. Um, I wasn't even gonna jump into a trade today because it started raining and thundering and lightning where I live, and I just was like, ah, man, I don't even feel like jumping in a trade today. So I decided to go live, and so people can kind of see what my mentor does and see the simple breakout and retest strategy live and in action. Um, but yeah, so that's what I decided to do. Thanks for the like. Whoever dropped a couple of likes for me, appreciate that. Yeah, help me if you're finding value. Help me grow my follower count on TikTok to a 1,000, so that way I can TikTok will give me the stream key, so I can add it to my OBS software and give you guys a better viewing experience. Because I know this kind of sucks seeing it from my mobile device because then I have to kind of you know navigate it so you guys can see it, see the screen clearly. But yeah, I appreciate the likes. If you guys have any other questions, drop them in the comments section, or you can DM me. Now, let me do uh, a quick review or reminder. Sorry, reminder that I go live. I do the pre-market prep. My primary focus is Tesla, so I focus on red and orange folder news. This is scheduled news that could positively or negatively impact the market. Uh, Hey guys, I appreciate the request to join the co-host. I typically do add people to the co-host, but this is more of a teaching session, so I want to keep this clean. If you have questions, can you drop them in the comment section or in the live chat, or you can DM me and then I can answer those questions. Because if people want the replay, I just want people to have the comfort of just watching the video through without distraction. So I apologize for not adding people to the co-host today. But yeah, but I go live every day, Monday through Friday, for as long as the market is open. Again, I day trade stock options and live every day, 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern. If you can't catch the live pre-market prep, again, I focus on Tesla. Uh, Tesla, I check out a couple of things. I check out red and orange folder news. Here's the format. I check out red folder and orange folder news. This is scheduled news that you can catch on Forex Factory. It's a free site. If you're inclined or if you're interested, it will have the schedule for news every day, right? Monday through Friday. If there's any red or orange folder news, you can see when it's scheduled, and that way you can anticipate that based on, your expected trades that you're planning to take that day. So today we didn't have any, so that we were pretty clear, which is cool. So that means I can take my trades freely and not have to worry about anything impacting my trade. So I focus on red and orange folder news. This is scheduled news again. And then I jump over to Trading View and check out Tesla specific news. And for those of you who are interested, if you don't know how to find specific news for your stock of interest, I can demonstrate that for you real quick. I'm on tradingview.com. This is very easy to find. I'm on tradingview.com. This is also a free tool. This is a chart tool. Many traders like TradingView because of its visual appeal. It looks much better than some of these other charts. But yeah, so you go to tradingview.com. I'll demonstrate it from the very beginning. Tradingview.com. You click on products. This is assuming you're already signed in, right? If you're already signed in, you have an account. You click on products, then under products, you see super charts. Let me move this over for those of you on TikTok. Click on super charts. That's going to bring up your chart. Doesn't matter what ticker you're on. You can search for your ticker of interest, but let's assuming you're interested in Tesla like I am. So be careful because you'll see a lot of different options. Make sure you're picking the right one. You should see something like NASDAQ to the side. But if you have questions, just DM me and I can get you to the right ticker at least. For those of you who are new, who completely new. All right. So once you're in the chart of your choice, I'm in Tesla. I'm going to move my phone over just a little bit. Guys, help me get to 1,000 followers so I can get that stream key from TikTok so I can give you guys a better viewing experience so I don't have to keep navigating my mobile device. But once you're in your ticker of choice, on the right panel, you'll see there's a link for your ticker, right? And it'll open up if you're on your desktop. Now, if you're on your mobile device, this might look different. But if you're on your desktop or laptop, thank you guys for the likes. I appreciate that. Yeah. If you find value, definitely like, subscribe, and follow for more. I appreciate that. Um, this is Tesla, and you just click on the link. It'll open up a new tab for you. And yeah, Susanna, I trade options. I trade stock options. I've been trading. I'm a new trader. I've been trading for the past 3 months. I have a mentor he's a multimillionaire, but he's only 24 years of age. This kid is phenomenal, man. He's his level of maturity and his ability to articulate is amazing. I'm just really super impressed. Yeah, he simplified the explanation. Now I'm 46 years of age. He's 24, and man, he makes it really easy to follow. So yeah, if you guys are interested in catching him live, just let me know because I go live every Friday with him on my TikTok, 8:30 a.m. Central, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. But back to my point, yeah, this is Tesla. We just opened up the new tab from that right panel link, and then you can see here there are several options, and you just click the news tab, and you'll get news specific for that ticker alone. So whatever ticker that might be, whether it's Nvidia or Apple, whatever, just pull up, follow the steps, but you'll enter your ticker of interest in the search field, right? Appreciate the likes. Thank you. Let's see what is the difference between options versus stocks. So that's a good question. Now, I'm going to give you a simple explanation, but if you want a more detailed explanation, just let me know. But I'm just going to simplify the explanation, okay? I'm not going to make it overly complicated. If you're buying stocks, you might have to buy a lot of stocks to begin making any significant profits, okay, or return on that investment. And I mean a lot of stocks. And that would cost a lot of money. All right. Typically, a lot of people don't have that type of money. We're talking tens and hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, all right, just to even be able to make, a small return on your investment. But with options, you get the you get the opportunity to take to make money with a little bit of money, with just a little bit of money. So you get to control a larger amount of shares for a little bit of money. So that's the gist of it. So stocks are synonymous with shares, same thing. Uh, Stocks are synonymous with shares. Let me repeat that for those who are completely new. With stocks, if you wanted to make money just trading stocks alone, you'd have to buy a lot of them. And that could take tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Whereas options, you can control large amounts of shares for just a little bit of money. And that's why people are able to make so much money just trading stock options. Just to do a quick recap, I'm up within the past 2 months, 7.9K just trading stock options. And I'm buying cheap contracts too. So appreciate the likes. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Did that answer your question? Hopefully that answered your question. If you have any additional questions, yeah, just let me know. But that's pretty much the gist of it. All right, cool. Any other questions? Any other questions? Tesla crashed to $5 after earnings. Yeah, yeah, that might be. But think about this though. I want to share some insight. I don't know. Do you follow Tesla? Do you follow the what Tesla's doing on a day to day? I do because I trade the stock. But if you've been following Tesla for even the past month, get this: Tesla is transitioning from a EV automaker to a tech company. So keep that in mind. Right now, they have a large portion of their business is EV automotive, right? 90%. 10% is energy. Okay, 10% is energy. But what they're doing is, if you've heard, they've launched a new service called Robotaxi a couple of weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago. I forget. Um, but that uses AI. It's powered by AI, right? But don't let that fool you. Don't let that fool you. Tesla's not just focused on a robo taxi service. Think about it this way: Tesla's focused on the application of AI. If you're following what Elon Musk does in his other business, he's really heavily focused on AI because that's the movement, that's the new wave, right? AI plus data, AI plus data. So with X, he created this new AI or XAI for his other company X, right? The social media platform, formerly Twitter. And then with Tesla, he's doing the same thing. So they're adding a new arm to their business. Tesla's adding a new arm, which is AI. And so when you look at it that way, you see that the robotaxi service becomes a application of AI by which they begin to learn and accumulate more data, which they can also monetize. So that's the thing. I would just keep an eye out on that, because that is the direction that Tesla is moving towards, transitioning to, right? But yeah, we'll see. Investors they've been very, very cautious this week, last week, this month, because there's a lot of news. We don't know when Elon is going to get into it with Trump again and have another spat. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But one thing to note is that even when Tesla's earnings are bad, why does the stock still? That's the thing that now, if I show you guys this, right? Look at this. I'm just gonna do a quick show you this quickly. If I switch to the daily chart, look at these earnings: red, 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 red. Right? Why is Tesla still trending up? Like, this is because I mean it's crazy. Like even though Tesla hasn't been reaching its earnings, it's still trending up, right? Still trending up. And this is after May. This is well after, right? So we had before the election, and then after the election, we after the election or during the election or during that time we were trending up, and then obviously Elon gets into it with Trump, which caused investors to panic and sell off the stock. But then after he made up with Trump, look what happens again. Now we're not doing anything new in terms of earnings were red, right? We're still trending up. Earnings were red, still trending up. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's just investors just love Elon. I guess they think he's a genius. I think for the most part, he does a really good job on this side of things. Not so much politics, but that's another story. Any other questions? Let me scroll through here, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Appreciate the likes, everyone. I appreciate that. If you found value in this content, feel free to like, subscribe, follow for more. Help me get to 1,000 followers on. Now, I'm not begging people to do this if you don't find value, but if you are finding value, let other people know and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. Why? Because that way, when I reach 1,000 subscribers on or followers on TikTok, they will give me a streaming key. And that streaming key I can add to my OBS software where I can give you guys a better experience and you can see my screen versus me using my mobile device and having to pivot my mobile device. So I think it's okay for the most part, but I don't know. I'll leave that for you guys to let me know. Um, but yeah, so with that said, let me do a quick reminder. I go live every day. I do the pre-market prep. My primary focus is Tesla. I go over red and orange folder news, and then any recently dropped news for Tesla. I do a quick recap of any trades that I might have taken the previous day. And then after that, I go into my strategy, what I'm expecting in the market open. So I do a quick review of what the stock is doing in the pre market, take a quick look at what it did when it closed, and then I go into my strategy and then I end the live session at that point. If you can't catch the live, that's okay. Just DM me if you want the live, and I will share that video with you. No problem. All right. Now, one last thing, I go live with my mentor every Friday. And I noticed today that when I complete a trade, if I'm completely done trading for the day, then I might go live so you guys can catch the rest of the session with my mentor, the Monday through Friday. But right now, tentatively, I'm doing every Friday. All right, every Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Okay, every Friday. Um, so that's it. That's it for me today. Let's see. Any other questions? If there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this live. Appreciate everyone who joined, and hopefully, if you found value, hopefully you share. Let other people know about me. Let other people know about this content. I'm sharing for free everything. No gatekeep, right? No gatekeeping whatsoever on my part. I'm paying real money for this information to learn from people who know what they're doing, what they're talking about, and to be able to take what I've learned and simplify it to other people. So you don't remove the complication. That's my goal is to remove the complicated part. I feel like anything could be explained or simplified. And if you don't believe me, there is proof. All right, there is proof. You can hop on Chat GPT and you can pick any topic you believe is complex that you perceive as complex and ask Chat GPT to simplify it, and it definitely will. So there's your proof. I believe any concept could be simplified, and Chat GPT is the proof of that. You can simplify. It can simplify any topic. Any topic. All right. Well, with that said, I appreciate everyone who joined today. Um, oh, I see one other question. How do you pick the deltas? Oh, yeah, good question. You got two questions. Okay. Let me do a quick recap. Now, I did answer that a little bit earlier before you joined. So that's in the replay. That's in this live session. So if you guys that are interested, if you want this replay, just DM me and I'll send you a link to this replay as soon as TikTok makes it available to me. Then I'll share the link to you. But let me answer your question. Susanna. Give me a second here. Hopefully, you can see my screen clearly. Okay. Now, I'm in Tesla, and this is true for any ticker, right? You basically go to the search field here, and then you can type in your ticker of interest, right? And then it'll bring up this screen. I'm in Thinkorswim, okay? Let me be clear with that. This view may not look, obviously, the user experience may be different for other brokerage accounts like Webull and Robinhood and so on. But I'm in Thinkorswim. So if you decide to choose a brokerage account, um, if you choose Thinkorswim, then you don't have to worry about trying to relearn these steps. So in Thinkorswim, there's what's called an option chain here. All right, an option chain, and then when you expand it, you get this list of options here, and the option chain is these options here, and what you see in the parentheses, these days, what they represent are the time till expiration. Time till expiration. All right. So 4 days till expiration, 11, 18, and so on. Okay. Now, what I was explaining earlier, Susanna, just really quick, is that for those who may not be able to day trade, right? Assuming that you don't have time to day trade because you have a 9 to 5 and or you have other responsibilities that makes it fairly challenging to day trade. Well, you could take these longer term positions. You could take these longer term positions. It could be 1 week out, 1 month, 3 months, a year. Look, I mean, you have options. No pun intended, even though we're trading options, no pun intended. You definitely have options. You could day trade or you could take longer term positions, 2 years out, 1 year, whatever. Now, with that said, I think you had another question about that. Let's see. How do you know what's the best contract? That's another good question, and let me explain it this way. Let's take a look at this. And again, I'm going to provide a simple explanation. Okay, I'm going to provide a simple explanation. I'm removing any complications like terms and stuff like that. I'm just going to use everyday language so everybody can follow. Okay. But if you need me to provide greater depth, just let me know and I'll zoom in, right, and provide greater detail. But you have, when you select one of these in the option chain, right? So let's say you want to select the 4 days till expiration option. Okay. Now, in this, let me move my mobile so you can see here. Again, remember, we're in Tesla. So these contracts for Tesla are pretty costly. Okay. If you don't have this within your budget. Now, notice this number here, 27.25 under the ask column. Okay. That's not $27.25. You actually have to move the decimal places over 2 places. All right. So this is 2000. So basically $2,725, right? $2,725 and so on. So to your question, which is the better contract? It depends on your overall budget. For me, I noticed that when I joined my mentorship community, there were a lot of people in the live session that were voicing their concerns about not being able to trade because they could not afford to purchase these contracts. Typically, what traders look for are contracts within this delta range, 0.50, somewhere like 0.50, 0.53, or 0.46. Um, I'm not going to bog you down with the details, but this is the typical range that traders typically use, right, to trade. And you can see for Tesla what that would cost, right? $1,100, 1,200, a little over 1,000, right? So a lot of people say, well, I can't afford that. I can't even afford to buy one contract. So, well, what are their options? Well, their options would be to not trade Tesla, right? Well, no, that's not the case. So earlier in this live session, I was explaining to people that look at these other options. Well, why aren't people choosing these cheaper options? What, they don't make money? And nobody really knew the answer in the community. And so what I decided to do was to test these out myself. So for the past 2 months, okay, past 2 months, I've been testing these cheaper contracts. These are the lower delta contracts that are, maybe I should switch this so you guys can see this here. Make sure you can see this column. These are the cheaper contracts with lower deltas. This is the delta column, 0.14, 0.16. Now, I typically choose like somewhere between 0.16 and 0.26. So anywhere between 10 points, right? That range of 10 points. 0.16 to 0.26. And notice the costs. Sorry, I have to keep switching for those of you on TikTok. So 0.26 is $470. 0.16 is $244. So that's how you basically choose your contracts. It's based on what you can afford. Now, you can make just as much money as those who pick these point five zero contract delta contracts and above. It How would you do that? Well, the answer is simple, right? You have to buy more contracts. So you have to scale up and buy more contracts. That's it. That's it. So you can still make just as much money as those who are, buying the more expensive contracts. You just have to buy more contracts. And I explained that with my example today. With Qs, I pay $53 per contract. $53 per contract. And look at my percentage return. 18.5%, right? Or 18.26%, not 18 and a half, sorry. 18.26%, right? Now I made $119 was my return. 119 after fees. Thinkorswim took their fees. They got to take their money too. But each contract was $53 and I bought 10 of them. So imagine if I had bought 20, then my number grows from 100 to 200. If I bought 30, then you see it grows from 200 to 300. So, and so on. So that's pretty much, you have to budget based on what you can afford. And if you can afford, um, you know, to buy 10 contracts, think about it this way. You don't even have to, what I'm seeing is that you don't have to focus on buying the more expensive contracts. What you want to focus on is buying a greater number of contracts, because the greater the number, the more you can make, right? The more you'll make. But you can make significant money with the more expensive contracts too. And you'll make it more quickly. But if I switch views on my journal and switch to the calendar view, look at my wins and my average dollar amount, my average win rate, right? I'm making $200 to $300 a day, right? And my weekly gains are significant. So I'm up 3.9K this month just doing the cheaper Delta contract. So you can still make money. Now, if I was taking my normal position of 10 to 50K, I'd be up even more. Then 3.8K, I'd be up almost 30,000. But it doesn't matter. I wanted to do this test because I wanted to see for myself if you could actually make money that way. Does that answer your question, Susanna? Hopefully that answered your question. What expiration you going for? Blue, thanks. Um, what I go for is I never trade 0 days. Never trade 0 days. Those are really, really volatile. You need experience. You need to understand how they work before you trade 0 day contracts. I always choose 3 days to 7 days. 3 to 7 days is the minimum that I look for. Very good question. 3 to 7 days is the option I use. How do you, let's see, how do you get per share? Uh, I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you explain the question again? How do, how do you, how do you get per share? Yeah, I apologize. I'm not sure I understand the question. Oh, by the way, Blue, if you do buy, these contracts that expire, 10, 20 days out, 30 days, and so forth. The contracts, you will notice that the contracts will be a little bit more expensive for the same delta, right? For the same delta contracts. So you might go to the 4 days and then see a 0.20 delta contract at $100, but then you go to the 11 days and then you might see that same $100 increase to 125 or 150. So you do pay a little bit more for more time. Let's see, how much did you make per share in the trade? Oh, okay, I got you. Per share, I would say that's a little over $10. Let me do the math. Let me be certain. Let me just pull up my little calculator here. I can't see that. Let's see. 119. Yeah, 11, almost $12 per share. Or yep, per share, per option, per contract. I mean, per contract, not per share, per contract. Um, so yeah, almost $12 per contract. Hmm. And that's what's significant, right? Because the the $53. Think about that. That's well over 10% for return. That's the power of how using this investment vehicle can help grow your money. Like you just have a little bit of money, $53, and then it grows $12. Where are you going to get that? Where else are you going to get that? Not from your bank, not from your high yield savings, not from a CD. Those things are going to take much longer. But here, I did it in 20 minutes. So, meaning you don't have to wait the whole dollar move, right? Yeah, yeah, exactly. You don't have to wait. This could happen within one candle. This move can happen in one candle because it actually did. I just stayed in a little bit longer to try to capture more gains. But yeah, that could happen in one candle definitely. So it doesn't have to take 20 minutes. It could happen in five. It could happen in three. It could happen in one. And that's a good question too because yeah, if I were to show you, you'd say, "Man, you are crazy. Why didn't you just take the money?" If you look at my losses this month, this loss here, 143. Well, this was up $400. This was up $400. I just stayed in because I was like, man, let me see if I can capture some more gains, and it ended up reversing. And that's the thing. And so the next day, you can see I didn't wait. I just took my money and left. But I was a $400 plus. This was not a red trade, but I stayed in too long and it reversed on me. So yeah, you definitely want to, when you see profit, take your profit. Take your profit. Let's see. No wonder I lost waiting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See profit, take profit. Exactly. See profit, take profit. Exactly. I let green go red. Yep, that's exactly. I did that. I did that several times last week. Several times. Even with this one, 591. This was not a red trade initially. So yeah, I have the same issue, and you can see I'm working on it. And I just have to keep reminding myself to stay disciplined. Hey, once you reach your goal of 3%, 7% or greater, start closing out of your position and secure these profits. All right. Let's see. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed. I was pretty disappointed in myself. Let's see. Yeah, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the likes. Those who found value, you guys found value. Help me get to 1,000 followers. That so TikTok can give me a streaming key so I can add it to the OBS software so I can give you guys a better viewing experience versus pivoting my mobile device. So I apologize for this viewing experience, but this is the best I can do for right now. All right, so um, I think that's it for today. Unless you guys have any other questions, I'm pretty. I ate already, so I'm just gonna go watch a movie. And then I create some content, work on my content. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, if you guys oh, I was thinking about doing a a trader um shout out version or like content. You are so very welcome, Susanna. So very welcome. Any information that you learn, feel free to drop with me because, like I said, I'm a new trader as well. I have been learning quite a bit from my mentor, but I've been learning a lot from just scrolling through TikTok and other social media platforms to see what other traders are doing. So I'm just trying to learn and soak up everything that I can as a like a sponge, because I also want to begin trading like futures as well. But I do trade forex. I just don't trade it live or manually. I have a AI bot trading it for me. It's right now it's probably averaging like around a little over 3.5% each month. So it's growing gradually, slowly, but it's still growing. But yeah, I want to learn those too. Probably if I can learn them quickly, if there's someone who actually knows them well, then that would make it much better, help eliminate the learning curve. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing like a little theme called Traders Shout Out, where I kind of like highlight different traders and what they're doing. I would like to jump on like I don't know, like a live session with all of us, just kind of going over what we learned or what we did that day or that week. Even if we just do it once a month. So I don't know. If that's something you're interested in. Let me know. But uh, but yeah, thank you everyone who joined. Um, I go live before I leave. Before I drop the mic right here, I go live every day for as long as the market is open. Every day in the mornings, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern. This is the pre-market prep. I focus primarily on Tesla. All right. The format is very simple. I cover what Tesla did the day before and what it's doing currently in the pre market. And then I cover what my strategy, what I'm looking for coming into the open that day, as well as covering any scheduled news that could negatively or positively impact the market. So that's your scheduled red and orange folder news. And I use Forex Factory for that, as I showed you guys. That's a free website you can use. And then I check any specific Tesla news that might have dropped recently on TradingView. So I just click TradingView, bring up Tesla, and select the Tesla news tab so I can get Tesla specific news and check out anything that could potentially impact Tesla that day. All right. With that said, one last thing, I go live every Friday with my mentor. Those of you who might be interested in checking out the simple breakout and retest strategy demonstrated by my mentor live in action. All right. So I paid $3,500 to join his mentorship, but I'm extending because I just want other people to see it. Everybody can't afford $3,500. So those who may be interested, um, I just want to share what I'm learning so you can see it live and in action for free. No gatekeeping. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to follow me. You don't have to like. But if you're interested in learning, feel free to check that out every Friday. I go live and I will begin to add more days sometime in the future. All right, thank you all. I'm going to appreciate that. Thank you for following. I appreciate that. I need it. I need it. I need the support. And thank you guys. If there's anything that you have any suggestions, anything that I could do better, any specific information you guys want me to cover, just let me know that as well. All right, till next video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later. Bye.